Mr. Dogburn?
What is it?
I'd like to talk to you a minute.
What is it?
They tell me you're a man with true grit.
What do you want, girl? Speak up at supper time.
Let me do this.
Welcome to the Perfect Movie Podcast, the podcast where we answer the question, is this a perfect movie? I'm Michael.
I'm Kayla.
And today, we have a guest. It's Kayla, our, four-time returning? Three-time returning?
She's our reoccurring character, for sure.
This is 5 or 6.
It might be 5, yeah.
Mad Max?
Nope, you forgot one.
We're starting from the most recent.
That wasn't our most
Bro,
recent.
that's
Mad
the
Max
second
isn't our
one.
most recent?
No.
Oh, Dead Poet Society.
Yeah.
Mad Max.
No.
What? Okay, you tell us.
We have to start from the first one.
The first one was...
Puss in Boots.
Yes. Then it was Mad Max. Then it was Twilight. Then it was Dead Poet. So this is 5.
Wow, yeah. I forgot about Twilight. I totally forgot about Twilight.
It was
about
my
Twilight.
fucking
That was your
pick.
Yes.
Friends.
was a
I
good
see.
episode.
You forget all the ones
It was
that
a good
I
episode.
want to do.
No. Twilight's a good episode. If you haven't listened to the Twilight episode, go listen to the Twilight episode. The Dead Poet Society one, well, it went left.
We went off the rails a little bit.
I don't even know if I listened to it myself, to be honest. So
Well, let me just, the file was an hour and 40 minutes. Okay, so, and I had to
that
cut
long?
down. Yeah.
Okay.
Our most recent episodes, we've been topping around 30, 40. Although some of that is just it gets hot in here because I have to turn off the AC and shut the windows.
Yeah.
Well, we're already 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
So
Should we keep this
we're
an even
1/15th done.
40? No tangents this episode, guys.
And today we are continuing our Joel and Ethan Coen June, where we do Coen Brothers movies, our Minnesota beloved directors that are Minnesotans from Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Today we did True Grit, 2010 movie starring Jeff Bridges, Haley Steinfeld, Matt Damon.
Jerry Seinfeld?
No. Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
No, Niall Horan's ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
Star of, what is it, Toasted? The Pop-Tart movie?
Oh, God.
The Jerry Seinfeld movie.
Toasted.
It's on Netflix.
That's a must-watch.
I'm talking about Haley Steinfeld still.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld.
What's the deal?
You know, Jerry Seinfeld would probably try to date her.
That's
Just
true.
saying.
It's right in his age range, Haley Steinfeld, in this movie.
Yeah.
Kaylin, what do you think about True Grit?
I love True Grit. The first time I ever watched this was in the theater, which was crazy because this movie came out in 2010. So I was high school days.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the theater one weekend. Was like, shoot, there's a cool Western coming on. Let's check it out. Really liked it. And I thought going back into this that I wouldn't like this because you know how it's like the same kind of thing with like Drive or something. It's like a movie that we saw in our teens, and I thought that maybe wouldn't hit the same. But I think it even hit a little bit more because now I'm older. I kind of understand a little bit more of the themes. Kind of understand more what people are saying and talking about. And yeah, it's a good movie.
What themes?
The themes of revenge is bad.
Oh,
Right?
I don't know. I couldn't understand any of it the entire time. So
I definitely watched it with subtitles. I don't know how I watched this movie in the theater.
It wasn't that hard to understand.
It's like
I couldn't understand the first third.
this is an era of dudes who you can't understand being in big movies. We had Bane. And
Yeah, true. Yeah, who is harder to understand, Tom Hardy or Jeff Bridges?
Jeff Bridges.
Tom Hardy is up there, though. I think Tom Hardy carries it through every single movie.
Well,
he's
the
in.
thing famously with the Bane performance is they had to go back and re-record it because nobody could understand him in the original mix.
I don't know why they didn't just dub over his lines.
They did. That's
Okay.
what they did.
Originally, they should have did that. I don't know.
I don't know. I think he had to redo the voice is what he did. Anyways, we're off task.
True Grit.
True Grit. Kayla, you've seen this for the first time.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I started my experience disgruntled because I accidentally paid money to rent the 1969.
We should
We should have been more specific.
Yeah, well, they're like tight because I looked it up online, and then I saw the little icon, and they look the same.
Yeah.
Like the 1969 one looks like it was like the picture looks like it's from 2010. So I was like, oh, bet. And then it's like John Wayne stars, and I'm like, this can't be right.
Unfortunately, the Perfect Movie Podcast is not reimbursed. So
Oh.
you're kind of out of luck on
I
that
was
there,
really
buddy.
hoping I'd get like $3.69. My Xfinity bill was like, you have 48 hours to view this.
You didn't read through the fine print in our contract.
I did
apparently.
not. It was fine. It was payday on Friday, so rolling in it. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't understand the first third. I had to go on Wikipedia to see what the hell was going on. And I will say, so I hate this movie written in my notes, but
This is going to be great.
I did come around to tolerating it. But I will say, I will never watch it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've watched this in theaters. Coming back to it, I think it's not among my favorite Coen Brothers movies. I didn't hate watching it. I think this is an adaptation of a novel, which was also what was adapted to make the True Grit with John Wayne. And I feel like when the Coen Brothers choose to adapt something instead of make their own story, I don't know. I just find it less interesting. It's more just the structure of it. I find it kind of meandering, and it doesn't have a lot of forward propulsion. I do like a couple of the performances. I don't love Matt Damon. I think I've come around to being like, I don't like Matt Damon.
Just as a human? Like as a
Or as in this part.
Right.
I think as a performer of characters, like of real characters, I don't mind Matt Damon doing the kind of like I'm movie star Matt Damon parts where he just is a little charming and close probably to his real self. But when he's like trying to become a character, I just don't buy it. And I don't know if it's just my relationship with Matt Damon.
I think it is.
Of long time, but I didn't. And also his character in this movie, I'm like, well, a beef.
Wow, I totally disagree with you.
Okay, well, that's good.
We'll get into this. Yeah.
Why is his name LaBeef?
LaBeef.
Horrible.
My name's LaBeef.
All right, let's get into the drip check.
Fit check, jacket LL Bean, shirt Sonoma, jeans Lee, kicks, Skechers, watch Timex, Apple, grocery store, peace and love.
This is where we talk about our favorite.
It's a new segment.
Yeah.
If you see Kayla's face, she's shocked. We have a new segment.
It's the drip check. It's just we're going to talk about costumes. I mostly just have written down...
Stupid.
Are you okay? What's happening? I don't remember saying anything.
Okay. Actually, I do have someone to talk about for this, even though I was not prepared.
Okay, yes.
The bear dentist is my favorite character.
Great character.
Of the entire movie.
Very Coen Brothers type of character.
Yes.
He has a very small scene, but when his voice is hilarious. Number one.
He woke me up from a nap.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, he was dripped out. He had his famous bear skin. I got my bear skin.
Yeah.
He was super like mountain man-ish, big long beard.
Yeah, he's this drifter medicine man. So maybe a quick synopsis. True Grit is a story of Maddie, who is
Maddie Ross.
14-year-old.
Yeah, 14-year-old girl in the West. Her dad was killed by Josh Brolin's character, Cheney. And she is on, went to town. She's getting his body, and then she's kind of struck off on her own quest to get revenge. And she's hired Rooster Cogburn, Jeff Bridges' character, who is this bounty hunter / marshal. She also aligns with LaBeef, Matt Damon's character, who is a Texas Ranger, who is also after Cheney. And that trio strikes out on the road to find Cheney. And that's more or less the story.
Take a shot every time somebody says Cheney.
take a shot every time somebody says, "Get your hands off my whiskey."
Does that happen?
I don't know.
Okay, back to the drip check.
Yeah.
We're in the Wild West.
Okay, the only note I wrote down was stinky man wear eye patch. Because I imagine Jeff Bridges smells terrible.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like a man who smells bad.
So we kind of mentioned this in our Big Lebowski review, where we're like, Jeff Bridges is kind of the dude in True Grit as well, but he's just wearing a cowboy hat. He's a massive piece of shit, and he's grody, but he's got that Wild West drip.
Also a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah, kind of
An
functioning.
inspiration for children everywhere.
Also maybe a man a little in over his head involving crime.
He's also an old man.
Yeah. The Jeff Bridges accent in this movie is just like have a mouthful of beans and then talk.
It's like he's got like dip in or something. You know what I mean?
I know what he reminded me of. It's a TikTok sound that's from a movie that it's like I know the scene. I've seen the scene of this where it's like, and it's terrible animation. Like whatever movie this is, maybe it's Chicken Run or something like horrid like
Chicken
that.
Run, a classic.
I don't know, like
Hold on.
Stop motion, horrible animation.
No, you're thinking of Chicken Little. Or no,
Chicken Run.
I thought of Chicken Little, and you
No,
guys are talking about Chicken Run. Okay.
And it could also be like I don't know, it's a farm movie, and the wife of the farmer is like. There's cows outside. Do you know what I'm talking about? No. Okay. Well, the farmer goes like, "It's a cow farm. It's gonna be cows outside."
Okay,
That's like all
that's
I
not
could
Chicken Run. I think you're thinking about Barnyard.
Randall, there is a cow outside.
There's a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.
No, I mean right outside this house, looming like a ghost, like a reaper.
No, cows don't like houses much. They prefer it out in the meadow where they can get a graze on. I'll need $100. That much I can tell you. $100. Retrieve your man $100. We'll take that $50 in advance. It'll be for expenses.
Again, I've never seen
Okay,
it.
number one, Chicken Run, they're like Scottish. They have
Okay, you need to
accents.
send me this clip. And yeah, in Chicken Run, they're all British.
Is that the movie where they're like, we're going to go cow tipping?
I've never seen it.
I
Okay.
think
All
you're
I know
thinking of
is
Chicken Little.
I am not thinking of Chicken Little. I know I'm not thinking of Chicken Little. I am talking about it's a cow farm. It's gonna be cows outside. That's
You're
what
gonna-
he sounded like the entire time.
We're going to have to find this clip.
Yeah,
and then
you're going
put
to need
it-
to send me this clip if you can find it. Speaking of chicken, have you ever had the McGriddle where they put the chicken, just the McChicken chicken is in the middle of the McGriddle at McDonald's and you eat that for
What
breakfast?
are you speaking of?
No. Is
It's
that
still-
the McGangbang?
No, that's when you put
Shut your
a
mouth.
McChicken.
No, it's not a real thing.
That's
That
a
is-
real-
that's
you put a McChicken inside a McDouble?
It's a menu hack.
I hate men.
Okay.
I didn't come up with this.
The McGangbang.
Hey, listen. It happened a long time ago.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Speaking of Barnyard.
Okay, we're in the drip check, okay?
Anybody
Wild-
else?
Why do I derail every podcast I'm on? I'm so sorry.
Okay, so the Wild West.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, cowboy hats.
Right.
Eye patches, bad teeth.
Haley Steinfeld has a little hat. It's
And
pretty cute.
really nice braids.
Yeah.
They're
yeah,
thick.
They're very nice.
It's like Wednesday Addams, but on like roids, you know?
LaBeef's got the got type stuff on. He's got with the frills or whatever. The
Fringe?
yeah, something with an F. He's got spurs. He's jangling every time, and it's funny because I love the scene where he rides up on the house, and they immediately know it's LaBeef because they hear a bunch of jangling when he gets off his horse. That was pretty funny. Yeah, Wild West. They were dripped out back then. I'm sure they weren't. I'm pretty sure everybody was gross. But some of the lawmen, they have nice suits on. and stuff. And
I just like Haley Steinfeld's fits are very like dolls.
Literally. I
oh
thought the
yeah,
same thing,
yeah.
Like whatever one is the one that's supposed to live in the wild, like the prairie.
It's very
American
little
Girl,
House on the Prairie.
Avenging
type.
My Father.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know how they have those books.
They have like
Probably
the
don't, but-
doll, and it's like in the box, and there's like a little gun.
Yeah, it's the gun in the bag
And a
that she
dead
carries
horse.
around.
You
And a
can buy
dead
the dead
horse.
horse.
And she's got like tears coming down her face.
Just a way too big pistol in a flour sack.
Little Blackie. I didn't really like the name of that horse.
I'm gonna call him Lil Blackie. I was like, don't
the-
call it that.
The little black kid was like, "That's a good name, you little racist bitch."
Okay,
All right, moving on.
let's go into the performance test where we talk about our favorite actors, characters, scenes, and moments.
It was the performance of a lifetime.
We got Jeff Bain Bridges, being impossible to understand. Brr, LaBeef.
You look old. Trying to do that.
Because you gotta like stick your
You
you gotta
yourself
jet your
against the wall.
you gotta jet your lower part of your mouth out, and you gotta
Put a bunch of spit in the mouth,
yeah.
and then you talk like this.
So let's talk about the scene where he's in court, because it goes on for a long time, and it's just about him dismissing just the prosecutor leading him to not snitch on himself, and then
And then he's like, "Marshall Cogburn, how many men have you shot?
Shot or killed.
Shot or killed?" And we're like, "Badass, bro."
this guy.
Oh.
I haven't seen the John Wayne version, but in the John Wayne version, they're like shot or killed, and everybody's like, oh, and like ladies faint. They're like, oh my god, this guy,
John Wayne.
this guy, he's a hero.
Well, I still have it for another like 36 hours.
Should we
Maybe I'll
just
have to-
should we turn this podcast into a True Grit 1969 watch along?
Our commentary
No.
track.
So we have Jeff Bridges, and this movie is just filled with an array of men with incomprehensible accents. I feel like that's the running joke, because I feel like sometimes the Coens have a running joke that goes through their movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like the running joke in this movie is like, so we have Jeff Bridges, hard to understand, and then they like lasso Matt Damon and thrash him around a little bit, and he almost bites his tongue off, and then he's impossible to understand. And then we run into Josh Brolin, and he's just like Herman, and it's like, oh my god.
And then you got the guy who's like doing chicken noises and stuff.
I loved him. He was funny.
Yeah, what are they riding away? And he
Like,
goes,
"Bah!"
They're like, do the cow again, and he's like, "Mrrr."
They're gonna be cows. It's a cow farm.
All right, that's when we roll the clip.
There's a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.
it's like in Furiosa, like they have their little.
Oh my god.
It's like when they have their little like charlatan. There's the man that's like, there's a man in Furiosa that's like the right hand man of the bad guy, and he just he like does chicken noises, and he barks, and he does interpretive dance, and I feel like this guy's that for the gang.
Wild West. Wild West was pretty much Mad Max.
Every podcast that you have, it's all podcasts lead to Furiosa, Mad Max.
All the podcasts
Your-
lead to Star Wars, actually.
Yeah, it's true. If you've watched our recent stuff, we end with Star Wars.
It's hard to watch a podcast, little bitch.
Damn. Okay. Did you watch Furiosa?
No,
Furiosa.
Why not?
because I work 3 jobs, coach basketball.
Okay.
I'm busy.
Well, when you find some time, check it out. I would like to hear what you think. Haley Steinfeld was incredibly irritating to me this movie. She just has diarrhea of the mouth, and
You sound like Matt Damon's character right now.
well, I mean, like, I didn't want to whoop her though. You know what I'm saying? Like, that
Give her a
guy
little
was
spanking.
Yeah, that was an
That
awkward
was
scene.
weird.
But I mean, that shit happened back then. So it was just like children would get spanked by anybody. I'm pretty sure that was like a thing.
I mean, you got spanked in school,
Yeah, there was like corporal punishment and stuff.
like prairie houses.
It was a different time, and I think we got to get that out the way before we keep going. This was a different time period,
We did not
okay?
co-sign all these characters.
No. There was a lot of racism back then. I think our opening scene is you see a Native American guy getting hung, and they're executing a bunch of guys, and they're letting everybody like say their final words, and then the Native American guy tries to say his final words, and they just throw a sack on his head, and it kind of came off as like it was supposed to be funny, and I didn't find that funny. I was like, that's awful. And then I don't know, the way they cut that, it kind of seemed like it was like comedic timing almost. So
I think it's
was
both.
A little strange.
I think it's you're supposed to go like, oh no, and then also like, oh
yeah,
they got him.
I don't know. It didn't really hit for me, but yeah. Back to Haley Steinfeld. She says a lot in this movie, like a lot,
but also nothing.
Yeah, at the same time, it's like the illusion of sounding.
My lawyer.
Yeah, it's like the illusion of sounding intelligent, but she's also a 14-year-old girl, so it's kind of like she's got to be an adult for her family.
Yeah,
so
she says like my mom has no thoughts of this, and she's at home with my little sister, one other sibling or whatever, and she's just like, I'm in charge of this, and I'm gonna do it. And her assertive nature is like necessary for her to get anything done, because otherwise she's just gonna be. I mean, you're already dismissed as a woman, but she's a teenage girl, so
right.
And that's where like the true grit comes in. Is like, oh, she's different. Oh, she's like, actually, you're a child. Go home.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, that's my thought on it.
She's the one with the true grit, not Jeff Bridges.
I like how they name drop the title like 3 different times. I thought you had true grit.
I thought you had grit.
They told me you had true grit.
And I was like, that's the name of the movie.
I hired the wrong man. My feelings are hurt that you won't bring me along, so as I get captured, I'm going to throw an apple at someone's head and then take my horse and swim in the river.
Okay.
She did that.
And then there's like the music of like, oh God, I hated that scene so much.
It sounds like you hate when women win. That's what it sounds like.
I almost feel like this is going to be hard to do segments. I feel like we need to get all our gripes out of the way first. Because you two, I feel like
have gripes.
I know Kayla says she hates this movie, and I respect your opinion, but I disagree. Michael, you said that you didn't like a lot of the performances.
No, it's just not among my favorites. Coen Brothers movies, almost all are generally good, but this is towards the bottom of the list for me.
What do you guys think? Should we keep going segments, or should we just kind of hop into?
I'd say don't worry about it too much.
Okay.
Segments are fine.
One scene I did like is when Jeff Bridges they're on the trail, and they stop to get some information from someone, and there's like 2 native kids, and he just keeps
kicking them.
He just keeps kicking the shit out of them, and I don't know like what the relationship is supposed to be, because he like clearly knows whatever unseen adult is inside this house.
Well, they were beating that donkey.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
well, were they, or they just had it was tied up to the thing like they were stealing it?
They were smacking it though. They were smacking it with a stick. And apparently Jeff Bridges, he doesn't like animal cruelty. He's fine with shooting people, but when it comes to animals, no.
He just goes in. He kicks both children off the little stoop they're sitting off, like literal, just forceful kick. The big brother gets the worst one, and when he comes back out and kicks the big brother again.
Yeah.
I must have been asleep during that part. I faded in and out of this entire movie. I'm going to just let you know that.
I'm very interested to know why.
Well, it was post-Pride. I got real bad sunburn. I was sleepy.
All right, understandable.
So that's part of it.
Any other notable performances? Josh Brolin was fine. Yeah, this wasn't his strongest performance. He barely had anything. Like, he barely had any scenes.
I believe this is the follow-up to No Country. This is their first movie after No Country.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like them being like, we're going to do another adaptation of a Western story because that worked well last time, and then we're going to be like, well, who's our stars? Well, Josh Brolin. Everybody loved Josh Brolin in the last movie, even though he's like a real pretty minor part in this movie, really.
Yeah, he's very minor.
He's like 4th or 5th build out of like his the leader of his gang almost gets more lines towards the end of the movie than Josh Brolin does. And then they're like, who does everyone love? Everyone loves the Big Lebowski. We're going to get the dude back in here. We're getting Jeff Bridges himself. And then they did cast Haley Steinfeld after, like, who was unknown at this point. Like, apparently they went through, like, 15,000 casting calls. And they did have to find the right girl for the job. And I think they did. Whether you find her annoying or not, I think she is really...
I think she had a great performance.
Gifted at doing this part.
Yeah, for sure.
One Star Wars connection, as always. Domhnall Gleeson gets murdered in a cabin after getting shot in the leg, and that is our Star Wars connection because he's in the new trilogy.
Whoa, J.K. Simmons was in this.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. He's the voice at some point.
Maddie's lawyer.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that actors act in multiple movies?
Yeah, sometimes they come in over here and
That's
then over here.
insane. Whoa, what a weird connection to find.
You came in here hot today.
I come in here hot every time. I don't know why you. What do you mean?
It's okay.
This is who I am.
We need this yin and yang kind of thing going on,
I'm the yang for sure.
Shall we move on? I think we've covered most of the performances.
Let's get into It's an Art Bro, where we talk about the parts of the filmmaking process, like sets, effects, lighting, music.
What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
I think the best aspect of this film is the way it looks. I think it's a very pretty looking film as far as like our setting, our Western. You know what I mean? It just has that great kind of Old Westy vibe to it. And I really like they're waiting on the because they hear the gunshot in the distance and they're waiting on whoever's following them to catch up, and then you got the snow falling and stuff. Just a great shot. Yeah,
They're really good at finding
really nice.
locations and capturing natural beauty. They being the Coen brothers, and they're Roger Deakins, I think, is on this one as the cinematographer. Like if we go from like Miller's Crossing, great forest. There's some great natural beauty in No Country, and then in here, yeah, you're right. The winter section when they're riding through the forest looks really beautiful. I think the town set and the way they extended, I think using blue screen, it's very believable.
Yeah,
and the Coens clearly like doing this because they come back and they do Ballad of Buster Scruggs a few years later, which is just 5 Western stories.
That's really great too.
And they have really like lots of natural beauty, and they are really good at capturing, and I think a lot of this goes up to Roger Deakins, is capturing like the, Minnesota, America has lots of problems. We don't have to get into them, but hot damn. Hold on, wait. But hot damn, is it a beautiful, naturally beautiful place to be?
Yeah. Yeah,
there are many places you can go, and you can find a lot of natural beauty in space, which you will not find in many places, like maybe Canada, maybe in some other places. But I just mean the
Canada's pretty much the same vein.
The expanse.
Oh my god! Have you ever been to Canada?
Well, it's woodlands and.
Have you ever been?
I personally haven't been since I was little, but I'm saying there's mountains and there's beauty.
What am I saying that you're disagreeing with?
Like, the whole world is beautiful in different ways.
But
like,
okay, if we're talking about biomes, like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, it's different than like the South American jungles. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, God.
So I agree with you, Michael, that North America has beauty, very nice natural beauty. I wanted to talk a little bit about the soundtrack, which is they do a rendition of Johnny Cash's "God's Gonna." I don't understand what's funny.
Yeah. I don't know. Kayla's having a meltdown over here. She doesn't seem to want to participate, and she just wants to.
I had a thought, and then you moved on to the soundtrack.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's
go ahead.
okay.
No,
it's fine.
No, don't talk about
Females
the soundtrack.
suck.
Kayla, you talk about what you need to talk about. You get it off your chest.
I was just gonna say I liked when she was being held hostage by what's the guy's name, Newton or something. Newt? Was it Newt?
Held
Starts
hostage.
with an N.
Yeah, because so she gets captured. She confronts Josh Brolin, and she gets captured in the Lucky Ned.
Lucky Ned. Okay, I knew it was an N. Newt was not correct though. But they're like sitting in the forest, and he's talking to Cogburn.
Yeah,
and he's like trying to like basically smoke him out. That's really pretty. Like, because the sun's coming through the trees. Are you mad at me?
No,
sorry.
I'm
Okay.
listening.
That's
I was
it.
just trying not to blow smoke in your face.
I just felt whatever. It's fine. It was pretty.
there's a couple moments in this movie where we get really wide shots of some plane, or like, because we're overlooking the action happening, and the sense of scale is all there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oftentimes in movies, they want to cheat. They want to be on a sound stage. They
Yeah.
want to, they want to cheat to get that scale and not do all the work, but you can feel the work happening.
Actually, I think the most beautiful scene for me was at the end when we see an older Maddie and she's visiting Marshall Cogburn's grave, and she's like walking away from it, and you get that nice, like, you're just kind of watching her walk away, and you get this nice wide shot, and she's wearing that black dress, and then you got the music overlaying on it. It looked really nice and it sounded really good. Anything else about the way it looked? Or
Were we going to talk about the soundtrack?
yeah, so they did a rendition of Johnny Cash's "God's Gonna Cut You Down" in the theatrical version, and then they did the 1887 hymn "Leaning on the Everlasting Arms," and that's like played a lot at the end.
I think that's
It's
like the main
also in the
beginning.
beginning.
Yeah.
It's my title. Like, that was the first
You know
thing I
that
noticed.
you know that one from heart?
Yes.
No, I don't know that one, but
You're not a true child of God, Michael.
How many hymns you know?
I know.
What does he say? No, Marshall Cockburn says in the movie, he's like, I hear a fiddle tune once and I never need to hear it again. I know the whole part. And he like is drunkenly singing their way down the path.
I also like the scene where he's drunk and trying to shoot like the
glass
bread.
bottle.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. No,
And it just falls in the sand.
shout out to the shooting competition, because at some point in the middle of the movie, because Matt Damon and Jeff Bridges don't really get along very well. They have like a nice dick measuring contest in the middle where they have a shooting contest, and it's just a complete farce. Like, nobody's hitting anything. They're just yelling at each other, wasting cornbread.
Such a waste.
That scene really reminded me of the presidential debate.
Yeah.
When they were arguing about who's better at golf.
Oh, we are so fucked.
We're cooked, bro.
We are
We're so fucking cooked.
Nothing. We have so many biomes.
I didn't watch it. All I know is Joe Biden was tweeting like, I may not be as talkative as I used to be, and I may not be as quick on my feet as I used to be, but I'm still going to be the man for your president.
Why does Joe Biden
Maybe if you're losing a step, you shouldn't be president.
Right.
Why does Joe Biden have a southern accent?
It's the sound of stupidity.
It's gonna be cows outside.
America's got a lot of cows outside.
What does Joe Biden actually sound like? He's like,
You
He's
know
like,
what?
no,
Don't.
I can do a
I'll
great Biden impression. He goes like this. He's like, and 1, and 2, and 3. This is the worst fucking president of the United States has ever had. And 4.
I'd like to take you behind the gym, beat your ass.
Behind the gym.
Press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
Isn't that what he was saying in the 2020 election? He was like, boy, Trump said those things. And he did a little like shaking his fists.
Why I oughta.
Wish they would have done that back in Pennsylvania.
This is where you need to overlay the sound America the Beautiful.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
I knew America was in its downfall when they stopped the famous hot dog eater from joining the hot dog, Joey Chestnut from joining the hot dog contest, because he signed a sponsorship deal with vegan hot dogs. So Nathan's, the hot dog sponsorship for the hot dog eating competition, said, Joey Chestnut, you can't come. And I'm like, what is more American than housing like 58 hot dogs in a minute and a half?
Seriously. But I guess eating hot dogs is not a part of the American Constitution. So
we could amend it.
We could. We could. Make America great again, guys.
Rodent
Eat more hot dogs.
Is good. Amendment number, what are we on, like 20? 18?
I don't know.
It's past 20.
Okay.
It's for sure past 20. 20 is crazy.
Name your firm's first.
Number
Name your
20.
number one favorite amendment.
Right to bear arms.
Ready, set, go. Second.
Oh, are you waiting?
What's your favorite amendment?
What's your favorite?
Probably women's right to vote.
Oh yeah. Do you know the number?
Isn't it 14?
Shit, probably.
I need to know my constitutions.
Oh God.
I feel like that's something I should
Welcome
know.
to the First Amendment podcast. The podcast is entirely about free speech. Here's our first guest, Joe Rogan.
Let's talk about chimps. You ever seen that video of the hairless chimp?
Have you ever
19th. Shoot.
Can you believe that we used to send chimpanzees to space?
We
And
never went
dogs.
to space.
You know, there's a statistic.
Hold
where-
on. We have a flat earther
Hot
over
take,
here.
hot take right there. There's apparently a certain amount of animals that are just floating in our atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
What?
Just because like they used to launch animals up. All the
Yeah,
time.
like what's her name? Like Kita?
No.
Like Kita the
No.
the dog on Sputnik
Yeah,
or whatever?
they launched dogs and cats.
Did
and-
she ever come down?
No,
they're
they don't
up there.
come
They're
back.
just dead in like a little pod somewhere up in our atmosphere. It's pretty crazy. There's astronauts up there too that are just floating around. There's a lot of Russian astronauts just floating around up there. It's pretty crazy.
You ever seen Gravity? George Clooney's floating around up
No,
there somewhere.
I refuse to watch space movies. It freaks me out. Space freaks
Space
me out.
is hashtag scary. The ocean is scarier. To me.
Speaking of
Yeah. I don't like
space or ocean, I would go space before ocean. I don't like the idea of the sunken depths above me. Like either way, outside is poison, whether you are deep
There's
underwater
a
or
word for that phobia. I forget what it's called. It's like subnautica or something
no,
like that.
subnautica is or it's submechanicatica is what you're thinking of, and that's
okay.
when human things are submerged. You're thinking of I'm on all
It's
these
like
fucking TikToks.
What is it called?
Because
It's,
it goes yo ho in all
Oh,
the
those-
videos.
yeah,
You know,
I've seen
I'm
those.
on that side of TikTok and I'm like, get me off. I don't want to
Hold
be
on,
on these
now I gotta
fishing
look
boats
at-
out in the Atlantic with you.
phobia of
God.
of
I could be on a
things
boat.
underwater.
It's either trans something or
transnautaphobia or something like
something
that.
like
It's
that. Yeah.
I would be on a boat before I'm in space, but I would be in space before I'm on a submarine.
so submechanophobia is a fear of submerged human-made objects,
Right,
kind of like
yes,
what
yes,
you were
yes.
saying. But I can't find the other phobia. But
When
we're on the
you're-
same page. Yeah.
When your sub driver is plugging in his Xbox controller to drive, you're done.
You're cooked, bro.
You're cooked.
Yeah, that
but-
was the big sub thing that happened last year.
He used an Xbox.
They had it was like
controller?
akin to like a PlayStation controller that they used to pilot the crap.
Remember
Yeah.
when they tried again, or they were like gonna try again?
Yeah, it was just a bad idea.
Go. You got the money? Go.
I feel bad for the kid who was on there, and he was like adamant about not going, and his dad was like really trying to push him to go, and he went, and then he never came back.
Well, he doesn't
R.I.P.
probably have an opinion about it now.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that there's ghosts underwater.
What?
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Oh, because people sunk?
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of like lore about it.
There's
because
stories
of, like,
about ghost
slave
ships and all types of
yep,
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Apparently, they see that a lot in China. That's what I've heard.
oh my god, so scary.
Yeah, it's creepy
There's
stuff.
I see. Listen, I've seen ghosts. I've seen demons. But if I were to see a ghost in the water,
That's where you draw the line,
that's
right
what
there.
I would also sink myself. I'd be like, "We're going down together, brother." I don't want to be here anymore.
Michael, at the end of the podcast, you should play the theme of Titanic.
That'll get us struck.
Oh yeah, true.
What does struck mean?
It just means we'll have copyrighted content in our thing that will
Then you're
prevent
toast.
it to be.
we're
Sometimes it
toast.
What if I
sometimes
sing it?
sometimes we're region locked, and it'll be like it's not available in the USA, but it's available in like Russia.
I don't know the lyrics, but anyways, True Grit.
You mentioned China. That's a place with a lot of problems, but also a lot of natural beauty.
And grit.
They do have a lot of grit in China.
That's
they
where
have-
all my favorite toys come from.
The Chinese,
Yeah,
the railroad,
the railroad,
the Wild West.
the Wild West.
They used to a lot of Chinese migrants.
Chinaman is not the issue here, Kaylin.
No, I'm just saying. Segway,
Segway.
China
Okay,
The
so
Chinese
are we going back to True Grit?
used to
Should we move
do
to a different
the
segment?
railroad. Yeah,
I want to hear more about China.
yeah. Well, I mean, the Chinese migrant workers used to come and work on the railroads.
Oh, guys, we
And
only
they
have
helped.
3
They helped
minutes.
build the railroads in this country. Oh God.
Oh no.
Okay.
This podcast will self-destruct.
True Grit.
We should end every podcast like the end of like a Mission Impossible message. You know, when you open this with a laptop and they're like, "This is your mission. If you choose to accept it, this podcast will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1." Then your phone just like bursts into flames in your pocket. It'd be interesting. One-time customers though. Okay, so let's get into our next segment. Hey, what are you trying to say?
I have the shoes, maybe a nice hat with a nice ribbon or a big handkerchief.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Oh, hey, I'm a guy who can wear a hat, huh? Oh, look at the tall freak. Probably can't fit a hat on that big, huge melon of his. Is that what you're saying? It's going to slip down over my head and down my little scrawny neck onto my shoulders, and I'll look like some cartoon character out of a Warner Brothers? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, actually, that's what I was.
We talk about the themes and ideas of the movie. Kayla shakes her head dismissively. She doesn't care. She doesn't like it. She wishes.
I think it's kill horses.
That's not.
I think that's the theme. Is let's shoot.
This is an anti-killing horses movie.
This is pro-killing
I
horses.
think what I mentioned earlier, it's a anti-revenge movie. It is about how revenge is bad. You traveled all this way. You got your man, but at what cost? Maddie, she was on this self-destructive path to avenge her father, ended up getting bit by a snake at the end, losing her arm. She still lost in the end.
It's a snake pit. There's going to be snakes inside.
Even after killing Cheney, what did she really gain from that? I'm sure she didn't find as much closure as she wanted to. And, yeah. Don't take revenge, guys.
And she lost a little Blackie, which was really what's important.
Tragic.
Right. That's why I'm saying the message is just killing horses.
Also, patriarchy. We talk about this a lot when you come on the podcast. The way that men presented themselves in the Wild West, the way that they kind of controlled every aspect of life. Maddie is a young girl who's trying to find her way, trying to be the woman of her house, be the sole provider, and figure stuff out for a mother who's probably too broken to do anything. And you get that really awkward scene where she gets spanked by Matt Damon, and you're kind of like, ew, that's really gross. But I mean, I'm sure stuff like that happened back then, where it's just like there's just no respect, and obviously women couldn't vote back then. There's just a lot of trials and tribulations.
Shout out to the 19th Amendment.
There you go.
That was a great one. That's my favorite too.
No, you can't double back and steal my favorite. Fake feminist.
I mean, it's true. The head of the family has died, so I mean, in a very like legal sense, there's like no, there's no power there left for the woman head of household.
There was no male heir. That's like House of the Dragon.
I just feel like that still happens, though.
Absolutely.
So.
But I mean, I think it's better than it was. I think you would agree on that.
Yeah, but I also think that things evolve.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, is it better or is it different?
I think it's the same with like the race issue as well, where it's like, we have rights, but we're still being persecuted. Right. You know what I mean? Sure. And so, yes, things are different, but there has been some effort for change, and I think that's important to kind of point out. Yeah. We're trying to move in the right direction. I don't think that'll ever truly happen, but there's been progress. I'll say that.
As far as the movie, I don't think it really lands on any commentary of the current times. It is very much just portraying the West as is expected, as is known. So it's not.
Well, I think. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying it's no big commentary on these times. I don't think.
I think you can kind of look at this movie more so as like a book or something. It's
literally was a book.
Yeah, a Wild West novel where it's like you have the heroes, you have the villains. It's a very classic tale of revenge, and especially in that time period. And I think if you look at it in that aspect, you might enjoy it a little bit more. And if you're not looking for like social commentary, if you're not looking for some bigger meaning to it, it could just be a small story that involves these characters and their bond together.
I feel like this very easily in like the late 90s could have been a movie starring Clint Eastwood as the Jeff Bridges character.
Yeah, for sure.
With much the same energy, and that's kind of the movies that Clint Eastwood has remade like over and over again throughout his career.
But Clint Eastwood would have been the coolest guy ever. You know what I mean? Whereas in Jeff Bridges is like he's a massive piece of shit. And you kind of he stays like that the entire movie. You see some humanity in him at the end when he's carrying Maddie to help her.
Well, I would disagree with that because he pulls when she's getting spanked. He pulls out his gun.
That's true too.
Like I think he always has that humanity. I honestly he's probably one of my favorite characters, and I think it's because he is so complex.
Yeah.
But anyways, I want to go back to you bringing up that it was a book. Assuming the book was written well and not like a shitty book, I honestly think I'd prefer reading it to like watching it.
Yeah,
because I like the idea of the plot line, but watching it play out was like pretty mediocre to me.
Yeah, understand. I don't know who the author is. It's a pretty old book. I know that.
I don't know. I do know the Coen Brothers version is more faithful to the novel than the John Wayne version was.
1969.
And I think this movie, from what I've heard, is not even as dark as the novel gets. So, I don't know. Do with that what you may. But I think the complicated version of the Rooster Cogburn character in particular, I think is... I mean, it is in this time, post like Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven, like we've come back around on like actually the West was like a kind
terrible.
Of vile place.
Yes.
That was, full of just disease and drunken people shooting each other because they're drunk all the time because, there's not a lot of clean water and people are just, wasting away. So,
well, it was like a lawless land. Like you have Cogburn, who's a U.S. Marshal, which like, what would that mean today? Right? Like that's a pretty high ranking government official, right?
Yeah.
Versus
it'd be like being the FBI or something.
Literally. I mean, I think they're part of that branch of like, but regardless, and he's also a bounty hunter. So you're telling me that this person of like high rank can be bought. Mm-hmm. Like that just goes to show, and even the Texas Ranger, like, oh, I'm after Cheney. It's like, what? So you're literally going state to state after this one guy.
And
it's
then
just
also,
lawless.
I think
it's weird.
It was mentioned that Jeff Bridges or that Marshall Cogburn was a outlaw before he became a marshal. There's definitely a scene where he's talking to Maddie about he used to be like a marauder, I think, and he used to do whatever. And I think this was like post Civil War, and so apparently he had done crimes before. He had killed a lot of innocent people, and so he never got his justice either. You know what I mean? Where he never got locked up for his crime. So it's like, what are the parameters of like, how do you qualify to be a marshal? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the hanging sequence earlier and how the native guy gets hung without saying his piece. Well, the first guy says his piece and he's like, it's pretty typical. Like, I'm sorry for the sins I've done.
Yeah.
I'm at the end of the road. Goodbye. And then the next guy's like, I know some dudes out here are worse than me.
Yeah.
And I came down, some spot of bad luck landed me here.
He said he shot the wrong guy or something.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of the West is there's some dudes out here worse than me, but here I am on the hangman's noose, Like it's random and it's depraved.
Well, it was also a time where outlaws were basically celebrities too. You think of like Jesse James, Billy the Kid. They were just like, they're celebrities, and so I don't know. It was just a different.
That is weird.
It's a bizarre time period, and it's very interesting though too.
Well, especially I think it's bizarre because it coexisted with like other things happening in the United States.
Sure.
Like I think when we think of Wild West, we think the entire country was like that, but I don't think it was. It was just like this plot of land was
so during this time
like,
this was like
on?
post-industrial revolution, I think. So you had the world was starting to modernize, and so the at least in this time period was starting to die off. Like the cowboys that we envision, the Wild West, was starting to die off. It was starting to become more modernized with the creation of the railroad and them laying those tracks, that was basically like, okay, we're bringing this modern civilization to a untapped land, basically. So before that, it was all colonialism and all that kind of stuff. And then you also have deep-seated racism with the slave trade, and you have all that. And so then you got the Civil War, and then it just kind of leads into this time period. So there's a lot going on back then, which was kind of nuts.
And it's not that far from the gold rush.
No,
right?
it wasn't.
Like,
and so that in the oil rush as well.
Right.
The oil
they kind of
wars.
coexisted.
Yeah, so people were just finding oil everywhere, so people were getting rich. Also, it was like Native Americans were starting to get rich too, because a lot of their land that was given to them was like on these oil reserves, and so they were finding oil, and then they were making a lot of money too. It was a big boom, we should say. And so, yeah, this time period was incredibly interesting. But thank God we don't live in it anymore. Jesus.
So there's one line that I feel like, I don't know if this is the theme movie, but it just stuck with me. At the end of the movie, Maddie tries to reunite with Rooster, and then she finds out that Rooster is like kind of semi-retired and like traveling as like a showman in a circus.
And Rooster is Cogman?
Rooster Cogburn?
Cogburn. God, yes. So just, I don't think we brought up the nickname yet.
Yeah. So Rooster Cogburn, she goes to visit him. She meets with some men. They're like, actually, he passed away a few days before you got to us. I'm sorry. And then she stands at the grave, and that's like the closing shot that goes over the titles. But she has some line where she says, time just gets the best of us.
Yeah.
Which is just a truism of life.
For sure. Well, for her, it kind of seemed like she never really moved on from that experience that she had, where it was kind of like she just kept revisiting this memory, like to the point where she moved Marshall Cogburn's gravesite to her plot of land.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, again, it's that aspect of like, you did all this, but at what cost? Where it's like, you can't even move on from this situation. You tried to find closure, but you couldn't. And so in her early, she said she never married, and she's like a crotchety old woman. You know what I mean? So I don't think she really found peace with that situation.
And I don't know who the actress is that plays older Maddie, but they've aligned so well on the specifics of her speech patterns.
Yeah.
She's like, keep sitting, pig.
Yeah. She only has like literally one scene, but she crushes it in it.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I think just from like a psychology aspect too, you have this 14-year-old girl who's so smitten with the idea of like revenge, who just lost her father, and then she's kind of taken under the care of this older man who literally saves her life and then disappears. Like, I think that's like a trauma trigger, right?
Oh, yeah,
of like,
for sure.
oh, this guy became like probably like a father figure, and then disappears before I awake from my my amputation.
This is all happening just in the wake of her actual father's death.
Yeah.
Like earlier that week or whatever.
Right, exactly. Because it probably that much time probably hasn't passed, and then I mean, I'm sure she just like, yes, she got what she wanted by killing Cheney.
Yeah.
But then now she has this new fixation, which is a very eerily similar situation to what she just was trying to put to battle.
And then the aspect of like trauma, and then
Literally.
it's like that wasn't understood back then.
It's just a projection of what she was dealing with, but now onto a new person.
Right.
But it is funny, the Wild West show, July 18th, my birthday.
Well,
I saw it on the flyer. I was like, that's my birthday.
Good thing you watched True Grit, so now you can be prepared. You can get yourself
ready to see some fancy shooting, sister?
I would love nothing more for my birthday, Michael, than to watch some fancy shooting.
With the like people twirling the gun and stuff, that would be pretty sick.
As someone with PTSD from gun-related violence, there's nothing more I would love than my birthday being people with guns showing off.
But it's for fun. Look, so I went.
Oh, thanks for clarifying.
I went to Deadwood. Okay, and in the middle of the day.
You had Deadwood?
No, I was in Deadwood.
Okay.
Huh?
And
What's a Deadwood?
Deadwood, South Dakota. It's the scene of many shootouts were happening in Deadwood.
There's a show called Deadwood on HBO.
Oh, okay. I don't have HBO.
So I went to Deadwood, and in the middle of the day, because, it's just tourist trappy.
You got shot?
No. Some man comes out, and he has this whip that is like the longest whip I've ever seen. It's like 15 feet long, and he goes, whoosh, and he's like, come on down to the West Side Show. Come down in 10 minutes. And he just keeps going, whoosh, and he's doing whip tricks for a few minutes in the middle of the road. And I was like, this
They should have.
They should have done this all the time in the Old
like
West.
the Renaissance Festival. They should have that, but with cowboys.
They do have whips at the Renaissance Festival.
No,
but
like
I
a
mean like an
cowboy
actual
festival.
like an Old West town.
That for sure exists.
I'm sure it does. I found this is so awesome. I got to send you the link. But they have this like town. It's like a LARP town, but it's all like Mad Max inspired. It's in the middle of the desert, and people go out there and they dress like freaking Mad Max characters and stuff, and they spend like an entire week doing quest lines and everything, and getting drunk, and it looks really awesome.
I can't wait for Ren Fair. Do you follow Jack the Whipper at all?
No. Who's Jack the Whipper?
He's a whip artist with a cool mustache.
No.
Does he have like the handlebar mustache?
Yes. But it like curls. It's like a French.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like really famous with the ladies.
That's pretty sweet.
Because he does lots of things. But also, okay, listen, I just found out my dad has an Instagram like 2 weeks ago. Okay. This was unbeknownst to me.
How's the drip
time.
on Dad's Instagram?
He doesn't post. He only follows.
Oh.
But he does follow Jack the Whipper.
Oh,
I
nice.
was like,
Nice.
this
Mutuals.
is really funny.
Your dad. I just like imagine your dad scrolling is like that guy. Right
My
there.
dad and I are
That's-
kind of the same person, actually. Like anything I would follow, he probably
That's
also
awesome.
follows. Besides like the more celebrity stuff, but literally his Instagram follows me, my sister, and then a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons podcasts, and then
Sweet.
Jack the Whipper.
Your dad sounds like a pretty cool guy.
He's sick as hell, bro.
Sweet.
Shout out to Dad.
My dad ordered a fire eater for his birthday.
What's a fire eater?
Somebody who eats fire and spits it out and does the dance. Like
Oh.
fire dance.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, you said ordered like it was an object, but this sounds like a human.
No, like I meant not ordered, but he rented a person to come.
Rented is just
Okay,
as
not
bad.
rented. How do you?
Rented?
He
Hired?
He hired somebody.
That-
He bought someone.
Rented was crazy. Like,
Okay,
I'm just renting.
He hired
someone
somebody
for
to
the
do
day.
fire eating.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Michael, what does your dad do?
I don't know what his Instagram would look like. He doesn't have one. He mostly posts things on my Facebook wall that I sometimes look at, like a lot of stuff. I'll just log in. I'll have like 4 or 5 notifications, and sometimes I'll scroll through them, and sometimes it's like I don't have the time.
I don't know how, but sometimes they like show up on my timeline.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either.
Are you friends with my dad?
His parents
No.
show up on your timeline?
Oh,
So I shouldn't see it, right?
yeah. I don't know.
I think
guess
because
maybe
you don't have it public, or you
maybe-
have it public.
Maybe
that's
my
why.
wall is
Maybe.
public.
Yeah.
Maybe something. I don't know.
We
Did
need
we
to
get
go
through
to-
some? We got through all our themes. I think.
I think so.
Let's move on.
Let's let the hate flow through you.
All right.
Kayla, go ahead.
I just didn't understand the first third, so that was a major problem. I thought the courtroom thing was so stupid because I couldn't understand
I love
anything.
that scene.
I hated it because I couldn't understand it. It was just, and I felt hot. Like the sun was coming in. I'm like, there's no AC. I'm warm. They're warm.
So
I can't understand
Going
them.
back, this movie changed her biology
Oh, once again.
once again. Remember how we were talking
Oh,
about that
yeah.
with Mad Max? Yeah.
All roads lead to Mad Max.
It made you feel hate. It made you feel hot.
Heat, hot, hate.
So it's much like the Wild West, right?
Yeah,
It
true.
was probably really hot in certain biomes.
I hated
doing
that they
snaps.
shot the horses all the time.
Well, would you rather them suffer when they're,
I don't. Well, why did you push him?
That's true too.
Like,
But-
let her die. She fell in a snake pit. That's her own fucking fault.
But back
Let her
then, they
die.
were like humans were more better than animals.
Sure.
So we can't hate on them for that.
I
didn't-
do.
They didn't know.
I
Did you-
do.
Another history
actually.
fact: in the medieval times, they used to put animals on trial. So there's a story about like pigs used to kill children a lot.
I love that.
Because kids would just fuck around and they'd get in the pig pen.
Then they'd find out.
And the pigs would like eat children, and this happened a lot. And so, what they would do is that they would find the pig that killed the child. They would put it on trial, and if the pig was found guilty, they would execute the pig. And I'm guessing that meant they would just make bacon out of it or something. I don't know how they would kill the pig.
Dinner.
But, anyways, people were stupid back in the day. They still are, but I think that there's an evolution there. You know what I mean?
Okay, actually, I would argue that shows more humanity. Like, a trial is just and fair.
Yeah, but you
In theory.
a pig, but the pig. It's not fair though
What does
because
the
the
pig
pig can't
say?
advocate for himself.
What does the pig
Pig's
say?
on the
Probably.
stand going,
He's like, I did not kill the kid.
Well,
It wasn't
it's
me.
kind of like
Much like the
during
film
the
Barnyard.
witch trials, where it's like, well,
Let's see
like-
if the woman can float.
right? She sunk. Oh, she wasn't a witch, but unfortunately, she's now dead.
Yeah. Let's just say, like, let's be, even though with our problems today, let's be a little thankful for the time period that we live in.
Why is
It's
this
awful
bullying?
back then.
No, I'm mad where I live. I'm upset.
No, I mean I agree. I'm the same, but I also think that it's it's a lot better than it used to be, and let's be thankful for that. I'm not in chains right now, so I should be thankful.
I get that, but I could have been maybe a princess in like a past life. Like you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. But
You know?
anyways,
I don't like how this movie feels like it's coming to a head, and then Maddie falls down a big pit, and I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
is this the end of the movie?
I hated
taking her out of this pit.
I hated when like her reaction to getting bit. She's like, "I've been bit," and that was it.
She was like screaming.
She wasn't screaming. She was like, she got bit. She was like, "Ah!" threw it, and then she was like, "I've been bit."
It's kind of a meandering movie, and I come to the end and I'm just like, whoa, okay. I actually like the very end, and I think the music carries a lot of it, but the emotion seems to come like kind of out of nowhere. Like I just feel like the Maddie actually caring about Rooster and coming together kind of never makes sense because before
weren't
the
jiving, really.
before the final shootout, she's like, "Fuck Rooster, I'm going with you, Matt Damon. Let's collab."
Yeah.
You know?
And then
Let's
he still
collab.
like he left, but he came back. But he also came back to get the extra bounties.
Yeah.
So it was still a selfish act per se. It wasn't totally selfless, even though he did help her. But it was more happenstance. I think he was like, "Why don't I go check on her?" Yeah. Do we have anything else to hate on?
I couldn't understand anybody. Like the whole scene with the like interrogation in the cabin. Like I literally had to be on Wikipedia and I was like, what the hell is going on?
Subtitles work
Don't you
too.
have subtitles?
I hate subtitles because then I just read. If I want to read, I'll read a fucking book. I don't want to read
Fair.
my movies.
Fair.
Enunciate.
That's how I feel about anime sometimes.
Yeah, but that's in a different language.
No, I get it, but I also don't want to like read and then I'm like missing stuff as I'm reading.
Right. That's so
You
like
get what I'm
if
saying?
I hyper fixate on the words and I miss everything that's going on in the scene.
Yeah.
I can't like.
I don't think that's like the most fair criticism. I'll be completely honest.
Okay, give me.
I just think
Caleb.
that
I'm
it's
ready.
so. It was a different time period. People talked like that. I don't think it was that hard to understand. Maybe it was just like more of like an attention span when it came to like you weren't interested in this movie, and so you might have just had a hard time following along, which is okay. That happens a lot, but I just think that maybe that was the case.
I don't know. I turned on subtitles.
Seriously,
It's fine.
this movie was not that hard to understand.
I mean, I just turn on subtitles sometimes. It wasn't just like I can't understand it. It was just one of those like I don't want to miss it.
I'm going to be
decisions.
elitist here. I have a master's degree in understanding people who are difficult to understand. And I
Fair.
couldn't understand it.
That's fair too. I don't know. I didn't have that hard of a time understanding. But
Well, it's not just literally their accents. The choice of dialect, which is a Coen Brothers staple,
Yeah.
is very, I think, of the time. And you know, sometimes they're using metaphors and similes and you know, just turns of phrase that you do not, you know, hear in your everyday
sure.
21st century life.
I think that
Or
just
maybe it's the point of it. It's all like this. Everything they do is like
I just think it
mumble.
adds
I
so
can't
much
fucking
to
understand
the
anything they're saying.
it adds so much to the setting.
I got chew in my mouth.
It was definitely
You know?
the theme of the movie is dudes talk weird.
Yeah.
Dudes talk weird in this movie.
That's again, Coen Brothers though. That's just most of their films. I mean, we were talking about Fargo last week. And Fargo, it's like, I mean, we're Minnesotan, but I'm sure people look at that and be like, who are not from here and be like, what the hell are they saying? And why are they talking this way, you know?
I said, well, that's not very good for that guy then.
Oh, you betcha.
Well, what was funny looking about him? Oh, just just generally funny looking.
Even compared to other people. Yeah. No, I understand the criticisms, and that's fine. But
let's talk about
I think
the
this movie
scene.
has a lot more strengths than it does criticism.
Let's talk about the scene where she throws an apple at a guy's head to escape.
Is that...
It's a criticism. That was stupid. That was a stupid choice.
Is that with Josh Brolin?
No, that was when she was trying to get across the river.
Oh.
And the guy was like leading her away. The boatman or whatever.
Yeah. And then she gets on her horse, endangers the horse once again, because we hate animals in this film. And she's like, come on! And there's like inspirational music in the background. It felt really Little House on the Prairie to me.
Yeah,
like
that,
it was
I
poor
agree
editing.
with that. I agree with that. It did seem a little hammy.
It was like, yeah, hokey.
To be fair, it was a good horse. Marshall Cogburn wanted to pay $10 for it. So it was a good horse. I don't know. It wasn't your average horse. I'll say
Right,
that.
so why push it through the river?
She wanted to get across. And this movie, to be fair, was not about the horse. It was
Didn't
about
the other
about
two
Maddie.
just forded through the river with their horses? Why can't this one?
Horses swim. But
That's how they got
maybe not
across.
across a raging river, but I mean, I'm sure that happened. But again, this movie wasn't about the horse. It was about Maddie. So it was more so. It was about her journey, about her will, about her grit
Well, she
to get
sucks too.
to get
I
the job
recommend
done.
you watch Seabiscuit or War Horse.
Or isn't or Black Beauty.
Spirit.
Spirit is a great movie.
Kayla died.
I love
Just
Spirit.
lit up.
Dude, speaking of soundtrack and Spirit slaps.
You know that Spirit is like a bunch of people's like, why is he kind of
Hot.
Yeah, like a lot of females think Spirit's
I've seen
attractive.
that. I've seen that on Facebook.
I'm not one of them.
That's fucking weird.
To be fair, you're telling me you don't have an animated crush
Of an animal?
Everyone has an animal.
Not of an
animated
animal.
No.
Crush.
I can't say I do.
I remember as a kid I had a big crush on if you've ever seen the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command animated, like 2D animated, hand animated
alien
show.
girl?
It was the green or blue faced alien girl. But she's just a human with different colored skin.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. She didn't
She
have
was like
she didn't have
she
hooves.
was like a teal.
You want to know my crush? My first the Goofy movie, Max's crush Roxanne.
Oh yeah. Certified baddie.
I was like, oh, she's very
I guess
hot.
that's an animal.
Right, technically. I
Yeah.
mean,
Little bunny from Space Jam.
Lola.
Lola Bunny. Ew.
Mommy.
Okay, so yeah,
You're
animal
such
crush.
a frat boy. You were literally such a frat boy.
But I get with the Spirit because Spirit's got like
You didn't even know her
he'd be
name.
smiling and shit. Yeah.
You're like, oh, the little bunny from Space Jam.
Yeah, Lola Bunny.
I just rent my bunnies.
Enough about bestiality.
Should we ask the final question? Is this a perfect movie?
You lost a baby brother. Perfect in every way.
I had a baby brother. I had a little baby brother. And he was perfect. Perfect in every way.
Kayla, I'm curious where you land on this because you're the most positive person.
I don't think it's a perfect movie by any means. I think I have like a not a guilty pleasure, but I really like westerns. I more so like the time period, just like people wearing like the outfits and stuff. I just like the setting a lot, and I think it works really well. Like a lot of Tarantino stuff like Django and Hateful Eight. I just love the setting, and so that elevated this movie for me a lot. I didn't like a lot of the characters, just didn't hit as much for me. Maddie, I had a hard time kind of finding like motivation to continue to like her character. I really like Jeff Bridges as Marshall Cogburn. He had a great performance. I liked Matt Damon's character too, and that's why I was saying I disagree with you on that. I think he was very strong in this movie. At least his dialogue was strong, and he was a good man, I thought, because he
Put
kind
her
of
in her place and gave her those.
well, not
spankings.
that, but he came around and he was a lot more selfless than Rooster. So
Well, it's funny because at the beginning of the movie, she asks the local sheriff, like, can you recommend somebody for me to hire? And he's like, well, there's one guy. He usually brings him in. He brings him in alive. He's steady and reliable. It's Matt Damon, who he's speaking of. And he's like, there's other guy. He's a little unhinged and he's mean. And she's like, I want that one.
Yeah. She set herself up for all of this. Let's be real.
Because she's 14 and she has no business doing this.
But yeah, and then it's like I like the idea that like I don't like clear-cut villains and heroes. I don't like that. I like it to be a little bit more obscured as to like who
like morally gray.
Yeah, because I feel like that's true to reality too, where it's like nobody's inherently good and nobody's inherently evil. It's just you do good things and you do bad things too. You know what I mean? It's not so black and white.
Like when she gets captured by Josh Brolin and he brings him back with his gang, the gang leader is like...
He's like a nice guy.
He kind of gets along with her, and he's like, I admire your spunk. You're a chess piece on the chessboard right now. I can't release you. But, like, you know, he wants her untouched, although he not very smartly leaves her.
Yeah, that was a terrible
stupid
decision.
I'll send you a horse.
Bad decision.
That's pretty good.
But no, I would not put this on the perfect movie list. I like a lot of Coen Brothers movies. This is not one that I would champion on the list.
No, it's not a perfect movie. In case if you're wondering my thoughts.
This is good because, you know, I think last time we just kind of uninitiated threw a movie at you. It was Mad Max, and I expected you to not like that.
You say last time, that was a year ago.
Okay,
We've
but
had 2 sets.
When we did Mad Max.
I'm saying the last time we threw a movie at you that was uninitiated because you were in charge of selecting Dead Poets Society.
And you loved Mad Max, right?
I did.
You did.
And you liked Mad Max, so it's interesting. I never know where the you know,
where I'm gonna land.
Where you're gonna land. I also didn't know where I was gonna land.
And then you threw a movie at us with Dead Poet Society. I actually liked that movie quite a bit, and I don't think, Michael, you didn't like it as much, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And yeah, this is good.
And then there was Twilight, which we all agreed was one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad I get the memes now. I forever have a meme packed away with Edward in little Lightning McQueen Crocs going, so you think you can outrun me?
And it's like, no.
I am Speed.
Oh, God. Well, that's like, I don't know.
Twilight is too on the nose to hate.
Twilight,
you know what I mean?
The whole point of Twilight is it is like a giant meme. Like, it's the culture of it now.
Yeah,
it's not the movie itself. It's like what this world's created of it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so fantastic.
Have you seen any other Coen Brothers movies?
You would have to like.
Have you
name
seen
them
No
off.
Country for Old Men?
No, my parents wouldn't let me watch that.
Well, you're an adult now. I would say if you get...
Okay, well, I'm saying like... I
know. Well, if you get...
you're an adult now is crazy.
If you ever get the chance, you should
check
it
out.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Brother, Fargo, Big Lebowski, those are probably the more famous ones. Raising Arizona is on our perfect movie list.
I think she might like Big Lebowski a lot. You should definitely
I've never seen Big Lebowski,
Should watch Big
it's a fun,
Lebowski.
really fun time. Yeah.
The one we haven't recorded is called The Hudsucker Proxy.
Be doing that next week.
Bad Santa? Is
I
that
think
actually one of theirs?
No, I think sometimes when you just Google, things start showing up, like maybe.
Okay.
Is
Old Brother
Ballad
Where
of,
Art Thou was probably
is
one of
Ballad
my
of
top
Buster
10
Scruggs
movies.
directed by them, or is that produced?
That is their their
theirs.
last
Theirs.
movie together.
That's also a good Western.
Because they split up, and Joel did a Tragedy of Macbeth, the Apple Plus with Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And Ethan just put out a movie called Drive Away Dolls that's like some like lesbian sex comedy. And
Color
I think
me intrigued.
they may reunite soon. I want to say Joel Coen has a movie coming out soon, but I can't remember.
Yeah, Ballad. I feel like she might have liked Ballad of Buster Scruggs a little bit better. Just
You
because
might.
it is anthology and you have different stories and it's not...
They went to
it's
St.
a little
Louis
bit
Park?
more interesting.
Yeah, they're Minnesota peeps.
Yeah.
Well, I know you said that. I didn't realize, like, Minnesota's
Yeah, they're like
a state.
Twin Cities.
There you go. That's more on the nose.
Yeah, but I mean, where do you think the big direct... Are they going to come
Rochester.
from? Yeah, they're going to come from Rochester. They're going to come from Mankato.
Hastings.
They're not going to come from anywhere.
How
but
about
Twin
White
Cities.
Bear Lake?
Oh, I went to school down in Chaska.
We're heading down to
Farmington,
Brainerd.
Faribault.
Faribault.
I went up to Fargo.
I met this guy fishing yesterday, and he had like a southern. He had like a southern accent, but he wasn't. He was from here, and he said he was born and raised, but he was like 4 hours up north in some, I don't know, I've never heard town.
Oh, Evelyn?
It was something
Virginia?
with an F.
Why'd you laugh?
Because I didn't. You're just gonna guess the random town based on the
It
hour.
was, it was something with an F. It was started with an F. I don't know. But anyways, he had like he was real like it sounded southern. I was like, you don't sound like a Minnesotan, but okay.
Because the Midwest is the south of the North.
Yeah, but I mean, he had like a drawl, like, oh boy, I got me a good carp right there.
One of my favorite podcasts is called Small Town Murder, and they call Catholics the Baptists of the North.
That makes sense.
I was like,
although
you just reminded me of that.
Baptists get more into it typically on a Sunday. I feel like Catholics don't feel the spirit quite in the same way.
Baptists they're very conservative. I know that.
Well, I guess Southern Baptists maybe.
Yeah, Southern Baptists would be like, yeah, you're all black church in there. You know, you got the preacher.
Snake church.
Snake church.
What?
What's a snake church?
Well, you guys don't know what a snake church is?
No.
It's a church with live snakes.
Well, that makes sense.
And you have to
I've seen
hold
that.
it and like not feel fear.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's like Fear Factor, but at church.
Literally. I'm not kidding.
You see
Joe Rogan
and they're like,
at the pulpit. If you lay in this bed of cockroaches for 1 hour,
Jesus will love you.
prove that the spirit is moving through you. With God,
it's just,
thou shalt have no fear.
No fear.
Lay in this bucket of worms. I
can't believe Fear Factor was just like all
legal?
the
yeah, that too.
All the 8s, 9s, and 10s in the greater Los Angeles area come do some disgusting shit for a week and an easy paycheck.
Yeah, for real. It's so exploitive.
It's disgusting. Ugh. I just always think of like maggots.
Yuck.
Like they could eat you, you know? Like that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Speaking
it's
of maggots, you need to watch Furiosa.
No.
Oh yeah.
I'm already out for that reason.
There's a really crazy maggot scene in Furiosos.
Might be the most disgusting thing I've seen, with one exception,
like
all
the
year.
Sandworm.
Sandworms not disgusting compared
Sandworms
to.
are awesome.
Sandworms are kind of cool. The maggots in Furiosa are disgusting. Also, there's a demon in the new Omen movie, the first Omen. There's something in there that's a little
pretty creepy.
It's pretty. It might be the thing that I most went, oh, like they put that in a rated R movie. Like you can do that.
That O was so Minnesotan.
Should I describe to you what happens?
I kind of want to watch it.
I don't know what Omen is.
The Omen.
Is it the first Omen?
This is the first Omen. So it's about birthing. I think Danny Omen is the name of the kid in the Omen movies. I haven't seen the original Omen movies.
Are you talking about the 1976 film?
No, there's a new one.
It's called The First Omen. So there's. It's
I know.
about
it,
like
literally just came out.
It's like it's like
okay,
about like breeding a demon basically, or breeding the Antichrist.
God, that is such an overplayed.
I mean, literally, the movie with Sid Sweeney
Satan's in my baby.
Has the
Did
same.
you just say Sid Sweeney?
Yeah, Sid Sweeney has the exact same movie come out. I forget what it's called, but like, there's 2 movies that came out back to back that
like
were just
Sydney Sweeney.
We're Omen type movies, yeah.
But in the first Omen,
I hate you for that. I hope you know that. Just so you know.
Never mind. Just watch the first Omen, and you'll see what happens. I
Don't
want to
spoil
describe
me.
it right
I
now.
I want to watch
Sid
it.
Sweeney.
It's not the best movie ever, but it's
the
interesting horror
Demon
movie.
Jackal.
No,
The Demon Jackal. That sounds like a B movie.
Are you just looking at them? No, it's not. It's a very specific. It's one specific scene.
Michael, are there any movies coming out soon that you're looking forward to?
I want to watch Long Legs.
Long Legs looks pretty decent. Nick Cage.
Although the more I see of Nick Cage, I'm like, is this going to be bad?
I'm really looking forward to Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, which comes out at the end of the year. That seems like it's going to be a banger.
Oh.
Yep. The guy who made the Witch. Have you seen The Witch or The Lighthouse? Or
I have seen
The Northman.
The Witch, yes.
Yeah. He's making Nosferatu remake. It looks really good.
I'm looking
is
forward
Long Legs
to
horror?
Yeah.
Are you
That
looking
looks
forward
good.
to Deadpool and Wolverine?
Kieran Shipka's in it. I love of her. She plays Sabrina in the Sabrina remake. The
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
No, but it's Mike went down. It's called Chaos. It's the chilling adventures of Sabrina. So it was made by the same people of Riverdale, and it's actually like it's supposed to be in the same time frame, like they're neighboring towns. But it's because listen, Riverdale is unhinged, and Sabrina got there at the end, but it like genuinely was a really good show for the first 2-3 seasons.
It's an early 2000s show, right? Or 2010
No,
show.
but it like they remade it like back in like 20. Well, I moved here when it happened, so like 2020 maybe.
I think I've seen one episode. I never really got into it. But.
Well,
Kaylin, are you going to be a completionist of Willem Dafoe and watch Kinds of Kindness, the new?
Probably. I'm going to have to get to it sometime. I wasn't a big fan of, what was that, Poor Thing or whatever?
Yeah, Poor Things.
It was a good movie, but it was wild as shit. And it was kind of, I didn't really understand the
I don't vibe with Yorgos Lanthimos. That's the director.
What is his name?
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yorgos Lanthimos. What a name. Between him and Denis Villeneuve.
I'm excited for Twisters, the movie with more Twisters
tornadoes.
than
There's
last
gonna
time.
be
I want to see
more
Borderlands. The Borderlands movie.
That
though.
looks like shit.
Borderlands movie was
Does
dog
it?
shit.
Yes.
I mean, if it's a movie starring
Kevin Hart,
you're done.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart's in it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind.
And it's going to be terrible.
And it's starring Activia lady, isn't it?
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Isn't she in it?
I believe not Jamie Lee Curtis. No.
Am I confusing her?
Activia is a crazy. The Activia lady for Jamie. I have so many problems with that. Like Halloween.
It's starring,
Freaky Friday. She's
No,
in
no,
The
she's in
Bear.
a lot of things. I just think of Activia first.
Activia
Yeah.
is nuts. A probiotic yogurt is what makes you think of Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, it has
It's
Kate. It has Kate Blanchett.
That's
yeah,
I think.
that's
No,
what it is.
Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. She's cast.
She's one of the.
Dr.
She
Patricia
literally
Tannis?
acted in one of the most influential horror movies of all time, and you think of her as the Activia lady.
I know.
I can't get over that.
She's the Halloween scream queen. That's who
Literally.
she is, yeah.
And you're thinking of a probiotic yogurt. Like I just need you to.
Activia lady.
I need you to reflect.
That's why I
on
was
this
confused
and
because I was like,
repent.
you talking about like a commercial lady?
Yeah.
But I was like, no, you're talking about Jamie Lee Curtis. She's an icon. Yeah. Anyways.
Repent.
Look.
Repent yourself.
I will not apologize for having a regular
bowel movement.
bowel movement. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Activia and Activia lady. Next episode, we will
Sponsor them.
have one more Joel and Ethan Coen movie, and then
Have we decided?
I think we're doing Spielberg. I think we can just do summer of Spielberg. We can just pick Spielberg movies until
Yeah.
we get sick of it.
Yeah. I'm down for that. You should come on for E.T.
You always ask me to come on. You're supposed to come on for Harry Potter. Never did that.
We need to get back. I'm thinking Harry Potter would be good at Halloween too. I think it's got a good vibe for
Yeah,
the
it does.
Halloween times, so that might be a good time to do that.
Have you ever seen it still? No.
I'm saving myself at this point.
The Sorcerer. Okay, listen. The Sorcerer's Stone is a great movie, and it's
really
got
is.
a great vibe. I don't like a lot of the other ones as much.
Really?
The Sorcerer's Stone had this nice magical feel to it because they were still kids, and it was like this innocence to it, and it was very magical, and I loved the look of it. It looked really great. The other movies, I just didn't really care, I would say. You know?
I think I will say movie, and this is not like, people don't agree with this. Movie 2 and 3, like, they're interesting and they're important, but I think that I have goosebumps. Like when movie 4 happens, which is a completely different, like you have the Triwizard Tournament, like
Is that the Goblet of Fire?
yes, Harry.
He was so mad at Harry,
Which is so funny because in the book it literally says, like, Dumbledore says calmly, like, Harry, did you? And then like the actor was like, I'm taking this.
Why did you do it, Harry?
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? But anyways, like that is like the point where innocence is lost. Like Diggory dies, and we have this like Voldemort is actually back.
Yeah, I was actually surprised by
I have goosebumps.
how dark the films did.
Oh, it goes so dark
as they kept going. But anyways, Sorcerer's Stone was really great. We'll do that sometime.
Or Philosopher's Stone if you're British.
Philosopher's Stone. Interesting. It's so funny
That's
how
the original name of it.
It's so funny how the names of films like change depending on what place you're living in.
Well,
I found
the
that
book
really interesting.
changed.
The book changed.
So if you buy it, well, I don't know if this is still true, but like when it was first released, also want to say J.K. Rowling's a piece of shit. So
yeah,
let me get that out there. But when the book was first released, if you bought it in the UK, it was Philosophers, but they changed it when it was shipped to America.
So that had to be like a religious thing, just because of the.
Probably.
In England, I'm sure that witches and just sorcerers were looked down upon at some point in history, and so that's why it wasn't very politically correct
to be honest, I think it's more of alliteration, like Sorcerer's Stone versus Philosopher.
So I know in some country, Assassin's Creed, the game, the name of Assassin's Creed, they can't use the word assassin because it has political reasons,
sure.
And so they changed the name for it or something.
What was
like
it
that.
called?
I don't know. It was like
Hitman's Creed.
Happy fun stab time.
Warrior's Creed or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, we will see you guys next week. Kayla, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me. It's
Absolutely,
always a pleasure.
Anytime. Michael, any closing remarks?
This was a quality podcast. Thank you for coming, Kayla. Next time we will do a different movie that is not this one. Enjoy yourselves in the interim time, or don't. If you're going through a tough time, you know what? You can wallow in it a little bit, and you can just kind of press on, keep on pressing on, and go. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Happy Pride.
This is a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.